Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our Draft Day Sports Pro Football 2021 Developer Dynasty stream. We're very excited to be back this Friday night to kind of talk about some of the things that we've been working on here, especially Brooks has, and our first access period. We've had a very, very exciting start to the first access period. As always, I want to thank, before we get started, our subscribers who are helping to support the channel either through their paid subscription or through their free monthly Twitch Prime subscription. So if you do have that free subscription and you haven't renewed it this month, certainly appreciate you taking the time to go and do that and renew it for us. Also, thank you to all of our followers as we continue to increase the follower count and the reach on this channel. Hopefully, we'll have some more good ideas coming forward in the future to use this channel for. But so far, the developer dynasties have been very, very useful for us, giving us a great chance to kind of talk with you guys and see what you're liking, what you're not liking, suggestions you have, things like that. Before we get too far in, though, I do want to make a comment on First Access. I posted a new link in the web store for anybody who is new to our company, to our games, to understand what First Access is. We are a very small company, and the reason we do First Access is this is our beta testing period, really. So we open this up to anybody who pre-orders the game because we really need that large pool of testers that we just don't have internally. We do some internal testing, obviously, as we're developing the game and just prior to pushing it to the First Access stage. But we really need that much wider net for not only a greater number of people who are playing the game, but also people who play the game differently than the way we develop it or test it or things like that. So first access, you are going to run into bugs. You are going to run into things that maybe need to be cleaned up still, because we are still, this is a testing period. The game is not officially released, nor is it ready for official release until we hit that date. So we appreciate the people who are taking the time to play during this time, and we appreciate your feedback. We appreciate the fact that you provide the comments. You let us know where there are bugs and things to still be cleaned up, and we appreciate you understanding that we are in a beta testing period here with this, and that we're working as quickly as possible to get the game to a finalized state. But until that point, we are testing and we are continuously fixing things. We've got Brooks here tonight, as always. So Brooks, how has things been going in terms of the feedback? And I know you've been busy with a lot of updates so far. How have you been seeing things so far?
I think it's pretty much what I expected. There's always going to be items that we forget about or we miss in testing, or different paths that we haven't gone down, or I mean, flat out things that we know we haven't gotten to yet that we're still working on it. So there were a lot of those issues that came out in the very beginning. I mean, we've been out for a couple of weeks now, and that was expected. We knew that people were going to find things, and we knew there was still a significant amount of work to be done. But the first access really helps me focus on hitting all of the highest priority items first, right? The things that are preventing people from moving forward, the things that are breaking the game, or the screens that aren't working. And within a patch or two, we had gotten most of those taken care of. I'm not aware of any major severity one kind of things right now. There's still things that we're working on, but the list has grown. It grew quickly in the first week, and then it shrank just as quickly as we knocked a bunch of that stuff out. So now we're focusing more on the various requests that come in, the different features that people want, or the different ways that they're playing the game, and they're noticing things that could make their lives easier, or they get excited about certain screens and certain features that is jogging all of these creative ideas. And so we're taking all of those into account as well, and trying to mix, still fixing issues that we're noticing on certain screens with these great ideas that are coming from the community that we're able to go ahead and put in, even though we're kind of in the middle of beta. So it's pretty much gone like I expected, and I think I hope everybody's excited about it, because we're definitely making a lot of progress, and I appreciate everybody's feedback and helping us get to where we're at.
Yep, I can tell by just by the sheer number of people we have who have pre-ordered the game this year, much greater than in any year prior. That there is a buzz about the game. People are very interested, and I'm glad that we are getting the feedback. Just kind of clicking around here, I can see even some small changes, like on the schedule screen here. The lines are different now, and they're more along the lines of normal betting lines. So even something, a small change like that I know was brought up by a couple of people. We're not just fixing bugs at this point, but we're making tweaks and changing things based on the uh, the feedback that we are getting.
Absolutely, the betting lines is a perfect example of that. There was, when we put out the last version of PF20, I was able to find some formulas and some fun ways of generating some lines, and it worked well. But could it be made better? Sure. And someone brought up that, hey, these things don't look exactly right. Could you just tweak a few things to make them a little bit more realistic? And we were able to put that in relatively quickly. It just depends on what the priority list for some of these things are. Some of them are features that we won't add because either they're not part of the vision that we have for the game. Some of them are just going to require a lot more work than what we have time for. But if it's a relatively, simple and straightforward feature and it makes sense to me and I still have time, then absolutely I'm going to be doing some of these options. Some of the other feedback we've gotten, if you go to the league options screen, um, I'm starting to add more options into that screen to allow people to further customize what they're wanting to do. One of the big discussions we had recently was um, the uppermost right checkbox there, the disable auto advance week. Someone brought up that whenever they click sim for simming a week or whatever, they don't like the fact that it automatically moves to the next week. Because the way I've always played it, and many others have always played it, is you click the sim button and then you go back and you look at how your team did, and then navigate all the different screens and look at stuff. But in this particular case, they wanted to sim the week and then immediately go look at the box score. And it requires a couple extra clicks to do. It wasn't a big deal either way, but it also wasn't a huge issue for me to go ahead and add that checkbox and make it so that people who are used to playing the game the way it is can keep it that way, and other folks who would like to tailor that experience to the way they play are more than able to do that now. So little things like that checkbox help with that. Um, there's also, if you click under advanced settings, we added um, the ability to customize your roster mins and maxes for positions, because people have brought up that they don't particularly like having a fullback required. So we were able to go ahead and add those roster position settings so that folks can go in there and turn that down if they want. Um, so we're definitely taking all the feedback. A lot of these things that we think are good ideas are making their way into the game, and we'll just keep going as long as we have time and we have good ideas coming in, and there's no major issues that will take our focus away. We'll definitely keep going this route.
Yep, and I see in the chat box, Talon says loving PF21. His group season ends tonight with the championship game. Looking forward to their off season being moved into PF21 once beta ends. Talon is a subscriber, so Talon, I thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. And absolutely, we are excited to get these leagues over to 2021. That's why we're Brooks is working, super diligently here, trying to get everything, not only finished up from the list of things that need to be cleaned up, but also getting some of these suggestions in, even if it might be a small one, like you mentioned with the check boxes and something like that. Not too much effort for him to go in and make the changes here. And we're getting, we're using this period, as we said, to get, feedback, because that's something that we, maybe didn't think about, or necessarily we don't envision playing a certain way. But somebody else wants a different option, and if it's easy enough to do, we have this period here, this month or so, that we can kind of add these things in. So I really, I know there's some people who have had other ideas and stuff like that in regards to the 2D screen that, I said that, I have a different design vision for that screen and something else that we're going for. But even in that instance, we're talking internally about taking, some of the idea without completely rearranging the screen, or redoing the screen. So even if we're not taking the entire idea that is being given to us, we're always talking about it, and we're at least considering it and saying, what from that idea does fit our vision. If it's not something where, it's an either or option, if it's something that kind of requires a complete change of how something looks or works, we're having those conversations. One other thing I wanted to bring up here is something that Brooks is kind of just in the beginning stages adding. If you look in the lower corners here on the 2D screen, you're going to see the area where the stats are, and he's got a rotation going on here that will eventually rotate to, at the moment it just has numbers and stats. It doesn't have a player or anything like that, because it's just a concept we're working on at this point. But this is something else that you know that's sort of just, we've been talking about this idea. And if you saw the basketball stream, that I've been working on something internally there, where we're having a pop-up, sort of come up on the screen to replace the stats temporarily. So we're looking for ideas and ways to continue to increase, the interactivity, to increase the things that you're seeing while the game is going on. So
Yeah, I kind of inspired by, watching modern football on television. You get, especially for fantasy football players, you get a lot of these interesting ticker style rotations after every play, or throughout the game, of how certain impact players are performing, and different highlighted players or highlighted plays, or whatever. So the thought was always to put something like this in there with that space, and replace the stat list that we have, and the rotations we've started using in other places within the game. So putting it here just kind of made sense, and we'll try and make it, um, nice looking, and have it fit in the space well, and allow people to see a little bit more about what's going on during the game, without um, having the rotator gives us a little bit more leeway on how many things we can put in there and rotate them, versus taking up more space on the screen. So, we'll have some fun with it, and hopefully the community has some ideas, and enjoys what we're doing with it.
And that's, what you kind of brought up there is really sort of our approach to this 2D screen across the titles right now, in terms of, I know that other games display things in different fashion, but we're really looking to make this sort of a visual presentation to you, like you're used to seeing on TV, as opposed to maybe what, an old football game has in it. So that's really our focus when we're looking at these screens, when we're developing them, when they're designing them. That we're trying to make it a presentation for you visually, that you want to sit there and not only participate in coaching your team, or something like that, but just in terms of even watching. And my team gave up a touchdown there, so you can hear the home team cheering for their Chicago Grizzlies. Let's see, there's a question from GB Moore, 121. Any chance Milestones make the football game? Uh,
Uh,
is that something that is being tracked right now, or is that something we can put on the list for the future?
so we have records, and we have like Hall of Fame requirements to get into the Hall of Fame. We don't really have the concept of milestones. If you're talking about players hitting certain milestones or getting news articles or getting some player messages, or like I don't know that we need more emails on, or maybe emails will work. But if you're talking about those kinds of messaging, then yeah, I think that's something we still have time to put in. We can add that to the list for sure. If
He,
you're looking for more of a new screen where we're talking about like all the players who have hit certain milestones, that's a doable too. We need to kind of think about what ones are important to everybody, and kind of a alternate Hall of Fame screen, not just somebody who's made the Hall of Fame, but just lists of, I don't know, 20,000 yard passers or whatever. So by all means, Gary, we're open to all these suggestions. So hop on Slack and let's talk about what you have in mind, and then we'll see if we can get that in.
Gary might be referencing what I added this week in the developer dynasty on pro basketball. During the Sims, this is something I've just worked on in the last week in pro basketball. Um, during the sim, it's popping up when players hit a certain milestone for the year, like 2,000 points scored. So as the game is simming, you get just a little toast notification during the basketball game that and he just referenced it that yeah in the basketball game. So it's just a quick pop up that comes up saying LeBron James just scored his 2,000 points of the season or something like that. So if those things are tracked internally, I can definitely port the toast code over, and we can use that here as long as it's being tracked.
I have I have some of it tracked, but most of it's tracked after the game's completed. So during a game, tracking what they're doing in the middle of a game with what their current career or what their current season looks like, maybe a little bit more work than we have time for. But um,
Right, and
we
they're in
certainly can look
basketball
at it.
they're coming up after the games are done. So it's really internally for me in basketball it was sort of setting the relevant milestones for the season, just so it wasn't something that happened all the time. So whatever our major statistical milestones for a season, and then once a sim passes where the player has hit that, then you get the quick little pop up notification.
I got you. Yeah, we could look at something like that.
I'll let you take this one from Staunch Theater. Is there a way for trades to be unaccepted by CPU control teams in sandbox mode, or put players from player control teams on trade block? We have 4 players playing a franchise in sandbox mode.
So I'd have to check on the trade block issue. The I thought we had set that up where as long as you were viewing your team, you'd be able to update the trade block as desired. But it's certainly something I could look into. Um, the unaccepted CPU controlled teams. I think we could probably add a checkbox to turn off CPU trading. Um, so that might address any issues that you have uh, with CPU teams trading things. But if you have different questions around that, or if I'm misunderstanding what you're asking, then yeah, please let me know, and I'll try and answer it better. Talon's asking about copying leagues. Oh, the copy buttons above the grids and the league stats. He's asking if we could add it to teams and rosters. So I believe that's doable. And I think we have room, so we'll look at adding those. I'll add that to my list.
the ever-growing list.
It gets bigger, it gets smaller. Fine.
But it's good. It's good that we have people who are passionate about the game already, and in kind of seeing this. This is the first time anybody's really seen the football game on this platform, and kind of getting the ability to understand exactly what we can do on this AU platform. So I like that people are constantly coming up with ideas, and something that they really like and they want it applied somewhere else, or they're seeing things from the football game they want in basketball, or basketball they want in football. So it really is showing kind of you know the advantage we have at Wolverine Studios, with us working together and all working on the same platform. Now with the games that if we have good ideas between the games, we can bring them back and forth, uh, you know, with some ease, as long as the structure is there for it. So, by all means, guys, keep keep the ideas coming for all of the games, and as we've talked about before, if it's something that we just can't get to right now, it doesn't mean that we're not tracking it and keeping it in our back pocket for later on. Because we always need ideas for future versions and things like that.
Yeah, another one of the questions I've come across is people ask all the time about whether we're removing features or whether we're taking out things from the game. And I do want people to know that when we rewrote this UI, we moved to this new platform, we literally rewrote half the application, half the game, if not more than half. So it's not like this new platform was just a reskin or a tweak of things, and we changed some of the look and feel. It was literally we had to rewrite the entire front end of the game, and as part of that, it opened up a lot of functionality that we're taking advantage of to make different choices with the way we do fonts or the way we do uh, the resolution changes and scaling up to 4K and all those things. So we got a lot of benefits from it, but it does require us to literally touch every single screen in the game and rewrite it. And so as part of that, my goal was not to just take a screen and just copy it over as is, because a lot of these screens change drastically when you move them from a smaller window that we had available to us in PF20 to now the full screen, full resolution views that we're working with in PF21. And because of that, we want to make things better. We don't just want to take every little feature and say, oh yeah, check the box, move it over. If there's a way to make it better, a way to make it easier, we want to try and take advantage of it. And that was my goal with this platform, was trying to update some of the things that I've been annoyances of mine in the game for years, and I think we've done that. And there are some cases where we might have taken us small steps backwards because either the platform doesn't support something in the way that I want to do it, or it was just too much work for the time frame that we had. And so those are things that we keep on the list, and we'll keep working on as time goes on. But hopefully everybody understands that that we've done this for a lot of reasons, a lot of future proofing, and we hope that people like the direction that it's going and that they'll stick with it and allow us to keep evolving it and take on some of these screens that still need a little bit of work. And as the basketball games evolve and as these football games evolve, I think it's only going to get better from here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the progress, where the games have come from. I always kind of look back to where we started with. Obviously, the pro basketball games are, we're talking 15 years ago. Uh, at this point, but and Brooks, you had your game prior to coming to Wolverine Studios as well, and it's great to see how they've progressed, and I've always felt that every so often there was kind of a big leap, and then we build on that for a while, and then take another decent sized leap. The jump into this platform for all of our games has been the biggest leap forward I think the games have taken, and I think that it really opens up so much for us that we're, like you said, the games have to be rebuilt to get on this platform. So everything in pro football, everything in the pro basketball game, the college basketball game last year was, rebuilt. It wasn't just let's drag the code over and change the screen. It's a totally new platform, and we've done it. And we put that work in because of the future benefits, and I think that if you're playing, you know, if you've played the prior games and you're playing this one, you can see just how huge the difference is, and how much the game has evolved. So I know I've covered kind of the items that I noticed of things that have changed. Obviously, if you go to the forums and if you haven't re-downloaded any of the updates so far, make sure that you have the latest version. You can always grab that from the link that you got in your email when you purchased the game, and we're posting the update log on the forums at wolverinestudios.com, so that you know everything that has been updated so far and everything that if you've reported an issue, you can tell whether it's been on the fix list or not yet. Brooks, you got anything else for everybody tonight?
Yeah, there are a couple other things that we have been working on. If you click back a week, which is one of the features that we fixed, but if you click back to a week that's been simmed, there should be for the games that have been simmed, there'll be a highlights button, and we're working on actual individual game highlights, similar to our league highlights in the league media page. So you'll be able to click on that and see the different plays for the different highlights and scoring plays and whatnot that happen throughout the game versus having to go to league media and look at everything. So that'll be something new that'll make it into either this upcoming build or the next build after that. The other thing, we were able to update the configuration under league structure so that you're able to change your playoff format. So we have now 5 playoff formats in the game that have been tied to all of the different league formats that we've made available over the years. The problem that we have is that when you take 5 different playoff formats and you take 30 or 40, I don't even know how many different league formats we have, it creates a matrix of testing that I just do not have the capacity to begin to check. So we're making a call to action to everybody that's playing the game. If you're using a specific league format that you really like, an 18 league, a 2014 league, NFL from the 60s or 70s or whatever, then by all means play around with that playoff structure. See how it works with a 4-team structure, or the 14 team that the NFL went to for 2021 this year. Check those out. Let us know how they're working for you. I've spot checked a few of them. I believe that they're working, but again, I can't test every combination that's out there. So hopefully we can get some help with that, and they'll be able to take a look. But I know that's something that a lot of people have been asking. That some of the smaller leagues want to have larger playoffs. Some of the larger playoff team or leagues may want to switch to something a little bit smaller, and this opens up the window to do that, and it also sets the table for us to be able to do more playoff formats in the future. I don't think we're going to be able to get any in now, but that's definitely, we wanted to lay some groundwork for that. So if anybody's interested in that kind of thing, we'd love to have some help.
Cool. So if you haven't gotten your pre-order yet, I would recommend that you go over there and do it now. If you know you're going to pre-order and you want that discount and you want to get your hands on first access today, go over to the website, www.wolverinestudios.com. Hit the web store. You'll find the link to pre-order, and you can be playing the beta yourself in just a matter of minutes after that. If you're waiting for Steam, that'll be coming soon once we launch the full game on our website. We'll get it launched on Steam as well. And if you pre-order, you do get that complimentary Steam key. So if you want it on Steam and you want to save yourself a couple of bucks, you can pre-order through us with that discount and get going. So I want to thank Brooks, as always, for taking the time to be here tonight and talk about the game, talk about what he's working on, and answer questions. I want to thank everybody who came to the stream and participated, especially in the chat. We always have good chats on these streams and a lot of things to talk about. So I appreciate that. Appreciate everybody who is following and subscribing to our channel, and everybody who has already pre-ordered the game and gotten their hands on the first access versions and started giving us feedback and helping us get it to the point it needs to be so that we can get to release. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope to see you back here on Tuesday night to talk Draft Day Sports Pro Basketball 2021. So that'll do it for tonight. Everybody have a great weekend and enjoy the rest of First Access while we get down the home stretch here to the final release. Thanks, everybody.